Before we begin, it's essential to understand that the information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. The presenter is not your attorney, and watching this presentation does not create an attorney-client relationship. Divorce and family law are incredibly complex and vary significantly by state and even by county. You should always consult with a qualified, licensed attorney in your jurisdiction for advice regarding your individual situation. Your world is spinning. The person you vowed to spend your life with is now an adversary. You're staring at your phone, the name of a law firm glowing on the screen. You know you have to make the call, but your thumb hovers over the button, frozen. A tidal wave of questions crashes over you. What do I even say? What do they ask? What if I sound stupid? What if I forget something important? What if I hire the wrong person and it costs me my kids, my house, my future? That feeling, that mix of terror, confusion, and paralysis, is completely normal. But today we are going to crush it. We are going to take that fear and turn it into a concrete, actionable plan. Because the single most important meeting of your entire divorce process isn't in a courtroom. It's the very first one you have with a potential attorney. And the brutal truth is, most people walk into that meeting completely unprepared, and they pay for it, in dollars, in time, and in heartache. This video is your playbook, your secret weapon. By the end of this, you will know exactly what to expect in that first consultation. You will have a checklist of the exact documents you need to bring. You will have a list of killer questions to ask that will instantly reveal if an attorney is a true professional or just a salesperson. You'll learn the subtle red flags to watch for, and most importantly, you will learn how to walk out of that meeting not feeling drained and defeated, but feeling empowered, clear-headed, and in complete control of your next steps. We are going to demystify this entire process starting right now. First, let's reframe what this meeting actually is. This is not a therapy session. This is not a confession. And you are not a victim begging for help. This meeting is a job interview. Let me repeat that because it's the most important mindset shift you can make. This is a job interview, and you are the one doing the hiring. You are the CEO of your divorce. You are about to hire the most critical employee on your team, someone you will entrust with your financial future and the well-being of your children. You wouldn't hire a key executive for your company without a plan, and you absolutely cannot afford to do it here. Your goal is not to find a friend. Your goal is to find the most competent, strategic, and effective professional to get you from the chaos you're in now to the secure future you deserve. So, before you even pick up the phone to schedule that first consultation, your work begins. I call this phase 0 the pregame prep. Skipping this step is like showing up to a final exam without ever opening the textbook. Don't do it. Your first task in phase 0 is to get clear on your why. I want you to grab a piece of paper or open a new note on your phone and write down the answer to this question. If you could wave a magic wand and have 3 ideal outcomes from this divorce, what would they be? Be specific. Don't just write a fair settlement. What does fair actually look like to you? Maybe it's 1. Staying in the marital home until the kids graduate. 2. Securing 50-50 physical custody with a clear holiday schedule. And 3. Keeping your entire 401k and pension. Or maybe it's 1. Getting enough alimony to go back to school and start a new career. 2. Ensuring you get the family dog. And 3. Having a clean break with no ongoing financial ties to your ex. There are no right or wrong answers, but you must have answers. This list becomes your North Star. It focuses your conversation with the attorney and helps them understand your priorities from the very first minute. It immediately shifts the conversation from a vague, emotional story to a goal-oriented, strategic discussion. Okay, second task in phase 0, gather your intelligence. You need to walk into that meeting with a basic file of documents. You don't need every single piece of paper from your entire marriage, but you need a core set of documents to give the lawyer a snapshot of your life. This will make the consultation 1,000 times more productive. It's the difference between the lawyer saying, "Well, it depends," and them giving you actual concrete feedback. Here's your starter list. First, financial documents. Get your last 2 years of tax returns, both personal and business if you have them. Grab the last 3 pay stubs for both you and your spouse, if you can access them without causing a major conflict. Print out the last 3 months of statements for all major bank accounts, credit cards, and investment accounts. Again, only what you can easily and legally access. This isn't about being sneaky. It's about being prepared. These documents tell the financial story of your marriage. Second, a list of major assets and debts. Create a simple list. The house. What's the address and what do you estimate it's worth? What's the mortgage balance? Cars, year, make, model, and any loan balance. Retirement accounts. Just the name of the institution and the approximate balance for both you and your spouse. Debts. List any major credit card balances, student loans, or personal loans. This gives the attorney a 30,000-foot view of the marital estate. Third, key dates and information. Write down your date of marriage and your date of separation. The date of separation is critical and has huge legal implications, so think carefully about when you and your spouse truly ceased being a marital unit. If you have children, write down their full names and dates of birth. Finally, and this is a pro tip that will save you hundreds of dollars in legal fees right off the bat, write a one-page summary of your situation. 1 page. Max, start with the basics. How long you've been married, how many kids you have, and what you and your spouse do for a living. Then, in a few short factual sentences, explain why the marriage is ending. Avoid long emotional paragraphs about who was right and who was wrong. The lawyer doesn't need the entire saga of your relationship in the first meeting. They need the facts. For example, we grew apart over the last 5 years due to disagreements over finances and parenting styles. We separated on May 1st of this year after I discovered evidence of infidelity. Boom. Clear, concise, and gives the lawyer the context they need without wasting a minute of your expensive consultation time. By completing this Phase 0 prep, you have already put yourself in the top 10% of potential clients. You will walk into that office not as a bundle of nerves, but as an organized, serious person who is ready to do business. You'll be able to control the conversation, get real answers to your questions, and accurately assess whether the person sitting across from you is the right general to lead you through this battle. You've set the stage for success. Now, what happens when you actually walk through that door? What are the first words out of the lawyer's mouth, and how do you respond? That's where the real game begins. You walk in and the air itself feels different. It's quiet, heavy. The smell of old books and maybe a hint of expensive coffee hangs in the air. The chair you sit in is probably leather, designed to be comfortable but also to make you feel like you're in a serious place. Because you are. The lawyer sits across a large desk, a physical barrier that screams authority. They'll offer you a water, maybe a coffee. They'll exchange a few pleasantries, but then the pleasantries will stop. They will lean forward, maybe clasp their hands, look you directly in the eye and ask a deceptively simple question. So, tell me what's going on. And right there, that's your first test. This isn't just an icebreaker. They are a professional observer of human conflict. With that one open-ended question, they are assessing everything. Are you hysterical? Are you calm and collected? Are you vengeful? Are you terrified? Are you organized? They're listening to your tone, watching your body language, engaging the clarity of your thoughts before you've even mentioned a single bank account. This is where most people make their first mistake. They start at the beginning, the very beginning, the story of how they met, the first 5 happy years, the slow decline, the fight about his mother last Thanksgiving, the text message she found on his phone. They pour out the entire emotional saga of their marriage's death. And while your story is valid, and your pain is real, the lawyer is listening for something else entirely. Think of it this way, you're not there to talk to a therapist. You're there to talk to a surgeon. If you go to a surgeon with a broken arm, you don't start by telling them how you learned to ride a bike as a kid. You say, I fell, it hurts right here and I heard a snap. You give them the critical information they need to make a diagnosis. A divorce lawyer is the same. They are listening to your story, but they're running it through a legal filter. They have a mental checklist and they are waiting for you to hit the keywords. When you say, he started his own business 5 years ago, a bell goes off in their head labeled business valuation. When you say, I quit my job to raise the kids, a massive siren labeled alimony and earning capacity starts blaring. When you mention, my father gave us the down payment for the house, the light for separate versus marital property starts flashing. They are not ignoring your pain, but they are compartmentalizing it. Their job is to translate your emotional tragedy into a series of legal problems that have solutions. So, how do you pass this first test? You don't ignore the story, but you lead with the surgeon's report. You give them the framework first. You say something like this: my husband and I have decided to divorce. We've been married for 12 years. We have 2 children, ages 8 and 10. We own a home together, and he has a 401k. I'm a stay-at-home parent, and he's an accountant. The biggest issues I see are going to be custody, and the fact that I haven't worked in a decade. Boom. In 5 sentences, you have just handed that lawyer a roadmap. You've given them the 4 main pillars of almost every divorce: kids, property, support, and assets. Now, you can fill in the emotional context, but you've started by showing them you are focused, you understand what's at stake, and you're ready to treat this like the serious business transaction it is. You've just elevated yourself from a messy, emotional client to a serious, strategic partner. Once you've given them this initial overview, the dynamic will shift. The lawyer will take control of the conversation. They will open a notepad or a document on their computer, and they will begin an interrogation. It will feel like an interrogation, but it's not hostile. It's fact-finding. This is the part where they build the foundation of your case, and the questions will come fast. They'll start with the financials. When exactly was the date of your marriage? This isn't for an anniversary card. That date legally establishes the starting line for accumulating marital property. What do you do for a living? What does your spouse do? They're calculating income streams. What are your approximate annual incomes, both of you? They're already running preliminary child support and alimony calculations in their head. Do you own a home? What's the mortgage? Do you have retirement accounts, pensions, an investment portfolio, credit card debt, student loans? They are drawing a complete financial X-ray of your life. Don't be vague. If you don't know the exact numbers, give them your best estimate, but make it clear that it's an estimate. The more precise you can be, the more concrete their initial advice will be. Then, if you have children, the questions will pivot to custody. How old are the kids? Tell me about a typical week in their lives. Who gets them up in the morning? Who takes them to school? Who handles doctor's appointments? Who helps with homework? They are trying to establish what the law calls the status quo. Who has been the primary caregiver? Because in the absence of major problems, courts prefer not to rock the boat too much. They will also ask, are there any special needs? Any health issues? These are critical factors that can impact support and parenting plans. Finally, the lawyer will ask the red flag questions. They will do this calmly but with intense focus. Is there any history of domestic violence? Are you afraid for your safety? If the answer is yes, the entire strategy of the case can change in an instant. Is there any substance abuse or addiction for either of you? Do you suspect your spouse is hiding money or being dishonest about finances? They are searching for the landmines. They need to know if they're walking into a straightforward battle on an open field, or a jungle filled with traps. After this information dump, a good lawyer will pause. They'll look at their notes and you'll see the gears turning. And then they will give you the single most valuable thing you will receive in that first meeting: a preliminary analysis. They'll start connecting the dots out loud. They'll say things like, okay, based on the length of the marriage and the disparity in your incomes, alimony is very much on the table. We'll need to discuss duration and amount. Or, the inheritance you received from your grandmother is likely your separate property if you kept it in a separate account. If you commingled it into a joint account, it may have become a marital asset. This is the magic. This is where you see their brain at work. They are taking the chaotic, messy story of your life and imposing a legal structure onto it. They're showing you the battlefield from a general's point of view, pointing out the key hills we need to take and the rivers we need to cross. They'll briefly explain the legal process itself: filing a petition, financial disclosures, mediation, demystifying the scary path ahead. Now the lawyer has asked dozens of questions, but your meeting isn't over, because now it's your turn. After you've listened to their initial assessment, you need to ask 2 and only 2 profoundly important questions. These questions will tell you almost everything you need to know about them. Your first question is simple: who specifically will be handling my case? Pay close attention to the answer. In many larger firms, you'll have your initial consultation with a senior partner, the big name on the letterhead. They're impressive, experienced, and expensive. But once you sign the retainer agreement, your case is handed off to a much younger, less experienced associate. You'll be paying the firm's high rates, but the person actually drafting your documents and returning your calls has only been practicing for 2 years. You need to know who your point of contact will be. Will it be the person in front of you? An associate? A paralegal? There's no wrong answer, but you need to know what you're buying. Then you look them in the eye and you ask the second and most critical question. Based on everything I've told you today, what do you see as the biggest challenge or potential complication in my case? This question is a truth serum. A mediocre lawyer or one who is just trying to make a sale will give you a generic, reassuring answer. "Oh, don't worry, we handle cases like this all the time. It'll be fine." They will minimize the difficulties because they want you to sign on the dotted line. But a great lawyer, a true strategist, will lean forward. They will give you the unvarnished truth. They'll say, "Your husband being self-employed is our biggest hurdle. We're going to have a fight over his true income, and we'll likely need to hire a forensic accountant to figure it out. It's going to be expensive and time-consuming." Or they might say, "The fact that you want to relocate out of state with the children is going to be a major, uphill legal battle." The court's default position is to keep both parents close. It's not impossible, but you need to understand this will be the central fight of this case. Their answer to this one question reveals their honesty, their foresight, and their strategic thinking. They are showing you that they've already identified the biggest landmine and are already thinking about how to disarm it. They are treating you not as a customer, but as a client. They are preparing for a real battle. You've assessed their strategy, you've seen their mind at work. But now comes the most uncomfortable part of the entire meeting. The part where you have to talk about money. And how the lawyer answers this question can tell you everything you need to know about whether they're the right one for you, or a financial nightmare waiting to happen. Let's break it down. The first thing you'll almost always discuss is the retainer fee. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of law. A retainer is not the total cost of your divorce. Let me say that again. It is not a flat fee for the entire case. Think of it like a security deposit on an apartment, but for legal services. It's a lump sum of money you pay up front that the law firm holds in a special trust account. As your lawyer and their team work on your case, they bill their time against that fund. So, if your retainer is $10,000 and your lawyer does $1,000 worth of work in the first month, they will pay themselves from that fund, and you'll have $9,000 left. Now, the size of the retainer can vary wildly. In a relatively simple case in a lower cost of living area, you might see retainers in the $3,000 to $5,000 range. But in a high net worth case in a major city with complex assets like a business or stock options, don't be shocked to hear numbers like $25,000, $50,000, or even $100,000. The lawyer is making a calculated guess based on the complexity they foresee in the first few months of your case. They're estimating the cost of filing the initial paperwork, the discovery process, and the initial back and forth with the other side. But here's the critical piece of information you need to listen for. It's a concept called the evergreen retainer. This is a clause buried in most fee agreements that trips up so many people and leads to massive unexpected bills. An evergreen retainer means that once your initial retainer fund dips below a certain amount, say it drops from $10,000 down to $3,000, you are contractually obligated to immediately pay to bring it back up to the original $10,000. It's a perpetual motion machine of legal fees. This is how you can pay a lawyer $10,000, and then a month later get another bill for $7,000 out of the blue. It's not a scam. It's just how the system works. But a good lawyer will explain this to you clearly and patiently. A bad lawyer will gloss over it. You absolutely must ask, do you use an evergreen retainer system? And what is the replenishment threshold? Their answer is a direct window into their transparency. Next up is the engine that burns through that retainer. The hourly rate. Everything, and I mean everything, is billable. A phone call with you. A phone call with the opposing lawyer. Drafting an email. Reading an email. Driving to the courthouse. Standing in line at the courthouse. Every single action is tracked, typically in increments of an hour. The most common increment is 1/10 of an hour, which is 6 minutes. So that 2-sentence email you sent to your lawyer asking for a quick update? You just got billed for 6 minutes of their time. If their rate is $600 an hour, you just paid $60 for them to read and reply. Got it? We'll advise. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. Understanding this system makes you a smarter client. You'll learn to bundle your questions into one concise email instead of sending 10 separate ones. You also need to ask for a full breakdown of the hourly rates for everyone who might work on your case. It's not just your primary lawyer. There's often a senior partner, a junior associate, and a paralegal. Their rates will be drastically different. A senior partner might be $800 an hour, the associate $400, and the paralegal $150. A smart law firm uses this structure to your advantage. They have the $150 an hour paralegal handle routine paperwork and filings, saving the $800 an hour partner for high-level strategy and court appearances. This is cost-effective. A massive red flag is the one-man show lawyer who insists on doing everything themselves. It might sound like you're getting dedicated attention, but you're actually paying a premium for them to do administrative work. You're paying partner rates for paralegal tasks. Ask them directly. How do you delegate tasks within your firm to manage costs for the client? All of this will be laid out in a document called the fee agreement. This is the single most important piece of paper you will receive from them. Do not, under any circumstances, feel pressured to sign it right there in the meeting. A good lawyer will encourage you to take it home, read it, and ask questions. This is a legally binding contract. Read every single line. Look for the hourly rates. Look for the billing increment. Is it 6 minutes? Or is it 15? A 15-minute minimum is a huge red flag. That means a 1-minute phone call costs you a quarter of their hourly rate. Look for the evergreen retainer clause. And look for the section on costs. Costs are separate from fees. Fees are for the lawyer's time. Costs are for the expenses they incur on your behalf. Court filing fees, paying a process server, photocopies, postage, hiring expert witnesses like a forensic accountant. These can add up to thousands of dollars on their own. The agreement should be crystal clear about how these are billed. Now, let's talk about the giant red flags to watch for during this money conversation. If you ask about the retainer or the hourly rate and the lawyer gets vague using phrases like, "Oh, we'll work it out," or "Let's not get bogged down in the numbers right now, let's focus on protecting you," run. That is a lawyer who is uncomfortable with transparency. They are either disorganized, or they are intentionally obscuring their billing practices. A confident, ethical lawyer will have a printed sheet with all their rates and will walk you through it without hesitation. Another massive red flag is the promise of a guaranteed outcome for a fixed price. If a lawyer says, "For $25,000, I guarantee I can get you the house in primary custody," not only are they lying, but they're likely committing an ethical violation. Divorce is inherently unpredictable. They can't control your spouse, your spouse's lawyer, or the judge. Any lawyer who promises a specific result is selling you snake oil. They are preying on your desperation. What you're listening for is not a promise, but a professional, experience-based projection. You will inevitably want to ask, "So what do you think the total cost of my divorce will be?" A bad lawyer will give you a specific number to get you to sign. A great lawyer will say, "That's an impossible question to answer right now," and any lawyer who gives you a firm number isn't being honest. It's like asking a builder the exact cost to renovate a house before we've seen what's behind the walls. However, based on what you've told me, I can give you a range for a few different scenarios. If things are relatively amicable and we can settle this through negotiation, you might be looking at a total in this range. If it becomes a high conflict case that goes to trial, it could be in this much higher range. That is the voice of an experienced, honest professional. They are managing your expectations. They are treating you like an intelligent partner in the process, not just a walking ATM. This financial conversation is a test. It's a test of the lawyer's honesty, their transparency, and their respect for you as a client. You are not looking for the cheapest lawyer. The cheapest lawyer is often the most expensive in the long run due to mistakes, inefficiency, or drawing out the conflict. You are looking for the lawyer who provides the most value and who makes you feel confident that your money is being handled wisely. Once you've navigated the minefield of fees and retainers, the conversation shifts. It moves from how much to how. How are we going to approach this? This is where the lawyer lays out their philosophy, their strategy, and their answer to one simple question will reveal if they're a strategic genius or just a bulldog looking for a fight that will drain your bank account dry. And that question is this: based on what I've told you, what is your initial assessment of my case? And what are the different strategic paths we could take to reach my goals? Pay very close attention to how they answer. You're not looking for a guaranteed outcome. No ethical lawyer can promise that. You are listening for their process, their philosophy. You will likely get one of two very different answers, and it will separate the chess players from the demolition crew. The first type of lawyer, the bulldog, will lean forward, maybe pound a fist on the desk for emphasis and say something like, "We're going to fight. Your spouse has wronged you, and we're going to hit them hard and fast. We'll file immediately, we'll go for maximum discovery, we'll depose everyone they've ever spoken to. We're not going to give an inch. We will make them hurt. We will win." Now let's be honest. In that moment when you are feeling hurt, betrayed, and powerless, that sounds incredible. It feels like someone is finally in your corner, ready to be your champion, your avenger. It's a siren song for the emotionally wounded. But I'm telling you, this is one of the biggest red flags in a divorce consultation. This scorched earth approach is almost always the most expensive, most time-consuming, and most emotionally destructive path you can take. This lawyer isn't outlining a strategy. They're describing a war. And in war, the only people who always win are the arms dealers. In divorce, it's the lawyers who bill by the hour. A lawyer who leads with aggression is often leading with their own financial interest. They see a conflict, and a conflict means billable hours. Every motion, every angry letter, every court appearance is another line item on your invoice. They're not solving your problem. They're monetizing your pain. They're selling you a feeling of revenge, but you're the one who will pay the price in dollars, in sleepless nights, and in a permanently toxic relationship with the person you have to co-parent with for the next 18 years. Now, let's look at the second type of lawyer, the strategist. When you ask them the same question, they will lean back. They will pause. They will think. They might even ask you a clarifying question like, "You mentioned the house is your top priority. Is that more important than, say, a larger share of the retirement account?" Then they will lay out a series of options. They'll say something like, "Okay, based on what you've told me, there are a few ways we can approach this. Path A is the most amicable. We could propose a collaborative divorce or mediation. We'd make a global settlement offer right out of the gate that is firm but fair. This is the fastest and cheapest route, but it requires some level of cooperation from your spouse. Path B is a more traditional negotiation. We'd file the petition to get the ball rolling and set deadlines, but the primary goal would still be to settle out of court through our offices. We'd use formal discovery to get the financial documents we need to ensure a fair deal. But we wouldn't be looking for a fight. Path C is litigation. If your spouse is completely unreasonable, if they're hiding assets, or if there are serious safety concerns, then yes, we prepare for trial. We will be fully prepared to fight and fight hard in a courtroom. But this is our last resort, not our first move. It's the most expensive and unpredictable tool in our toolbox, and we only use it when we have to. Do you see the difference? The bulldog sells you a war. The strategist presents you with a map. They show you all the possible roads to get to your destination, explaining the risks and benefits of each. They understand that a courtroom victory that leaves you emotionally and financially bankrupt is not a victory at all. Let me give you a real-world example. I knew a woman, let's call her Jessica. Her husband had a small, successful construction business. He wasn't a multimillionaire, but they lived comfortably. When they decided to divorce, her first lawyer was a bulldog. He said, "This business is half yours. We're going to hire a forensic accountant, we're going to tear his books apart, we're going to prove he's been hiding cash, and we're going to get you a massive payout." So they did. For 18 months they fought. They spent over $80,000 on legal fees and expert witnesses. The forensic accountant did find about $30,000 in questionable expenses over 5 years. In the end, the judge gave Jessica an extra $15,000 from the business. She spent $80,000 to get $15,000. Even worse, the legal battle nearly bankrupted the business itself, which was the primary source of the alimony and child support she was counting on. The bulldog won the battle over the 15 grand, but in the process, he burned down the entire village. A strategist in that same situation would have said, "Okay, Jessica, forensic accounting is an option, but it's a $10,000 plus gamble to maybe find a few thousand. Here's another idea. Let's offer him a deal. You waive your right to a forensic audit, which he's terrified of because it's a huge headache, and in exchange, he agrees that you get the house free and clear, with him refinancing the mortgage into his name alone. We trade the possibility of finding a little bit of cash for the certainty of securing your biggest asset." That is strategy. It's not about being weak or giving in. It's about being smart. It's about understanding leverage. A great divorce lawyer knows that their most powerful weapon isn't a motion filed with the court. It's understanding what the other side wants and what they fear, and using that knowledge to get you what you need without having to fire a single shot. So, when you're in that consultation, listen for the language. Are they talking about tactics or just tantrums? Are they discussing cost-benefit analysis or just crushing the opponent? Are they a warrior or are they a guide? Because one will lead you into a battle that will drain you of everything you have, while the other will lead you to a resolution that allows you to start your next chapter, whole and with your resources intact. Choosing a lawyer based on their promised aggression is like choosing a surgeon based on who owns the biggest hammer. You don't want brute force. You want surgical precision. You want someone who knows that sometimes the most powerful move is the one you don't make. And this entire strategic approach has a direct, massive impact on the single biggest source of anxiety for most people facing divorce: the cost. How much is this all going to cost me? When the lawyer starts talking about their strategy, your very next thought should be about the price tag attached to it. Because the difference between a bulldog's bill and a strategist's bill isn't just a few dollars. It can be the difference between a secure future and financial ruin. And understanding how they charge, what a retainer is, and what you're really paying for. That is the key to not just surviving your divorce but affording it. So let's pull back the curtain on the single most confusing and anxiety-inducing part of this entire process. The money. The first thing you're likely to hear about is the retainer. And most people get this wrong. A retainer is not the lawyer's fee. It's not like you're buying a $5,000 television. Think of it as a down payment. It's a security deposit on your lawyer's future time and services. Imagine you're about to go on a long, unpredictable road trip through a dangerous desert. The retainer is the money you give your guide up front to fill the Jeep with gas, stock it with water and supplies, and buy the maps. You're funding the beginning of the journey. The guide, your lawyer, takes that money and puts it into a special separate bank account. This is usually called a trust account or an OLTA account. This is critical. That money is still your money. It doesn't belong to the lawyer yet. They can only take money out of that account after they have performed work for you and earned it. So every month they will send you a detailed, itemized bill. It will show every phone call, every email, every document they drafted. It will list who did the work, the lawyer, a junior associate, a paralegal, and how much time it took. Then, and only then, they will pay themselves from your retainer money in that trust account. Your $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000 retainer is basically your legal war chest. As they fight for you, the chest gets depleted. And this leads to the next question I always get. Why is the retainer so high? Feels like a punch to the gut. You're already in crisis, and now you have to come up with thousands of dollars you probably don't have. There are a few very real reasons for this. First, it ensures you are serious. A law firm is a business. When they take your case, they are turning away other potential clients. They are dedicating a slot of their limited time and resources to you. The retainer proves you're committed to the process. Second, the beginning of a divorce case is often the most intense. There's a flurry of activity. Drafting the initial petition, filing it with the court, arranging for your spouse to be served, preparing initial financial disclosures, and potentially filing emergency motions for things like temporary custody or support. The retainer is designed to cover this initial labor-intensive phase without the lawyer having to chase you for payment while they're trying to protect your immediate interests. Once that retainer is in place, the real engine of your legal bill starts running: the hourly rate. And this isn't just one number. A senior partner might bill at $600 an hour. A junior associate lawyer might be $300 an hour. A paralegal could be $150 an hour. And you need to understand this ecosystem. A good firm uses this structure to save you money. You don't want the $600 an hour partner spending 3 hours organizing a binder of your bank statements. That's a job for the $150 an hour paralegal. Understanding who does what is your first step in managing costs. Now let's talk about the billable hour itself. This is where so many people get blindsided. Lawyers don't bill by the minute. They bill in increments, usually 1/10 of an hour, which is 6 minutes. So a 2-minute phone call? That's a 6-minute charge. A quick email that takes you 30 seconds to read? The lawyer spent 5 minutes reading it, thinking about it, and writing a reply. That's a 6-minute charge. A 12-minute phone call is a 12-minute charge, or 2/10 of an hour. Every single interaction is logged. Every single one. The time they spend reading an email from your spouse's lawyer. The time they spend on the phone with the court clerk. The time they spend drafting a motion. The time they spend preparing you for a hearing. It all goes on the timesheet. This is not to cheat you. It's how the business of law functions. Their time and their expertise are the only products they have to sell. Let me give you a real-world example that will save you thousands of dollars. I once had a client who was, understandably, very emotional and anxious. He would call me 3 or 4 times a day just to vent, to ask the same question we'd already answered, or to give me a play-by-play of an argument he just had with his soon-to-be ex. Each call was maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Let's be conservative and say each call was billed at 0.2 of an hour, 12 minutes. 4 calls a day is 0.8 of an hour. At my hourly rate, that was hundreds of dollars every single day. That's over $1,000 a week for conversations that did absolutely nothing to advance his legal case. They were therapy sessions at a lawyer's hourly rate. We had to have a frank conversation. I told him, I am your legal strategist, not your therapist. You will save an enormous amount of money if you consolidate your non-emergency questions into one email per day, and you find a professional counselor to help you process the emotions. He did, and his bill was cut in half overnight. You must be disciplined in your communication. Be efficient. Be organized. It will directly impact your bottom line. But the hourly fees are only part of the story. These are the soft costs. Then you have the hard costs, which are the out-of-pocket expenses paid to third parties on your behalf. These are costs that get passed directly on to you, and you need to ask about them. What are they? Things like court filing fees. It costs money just to start a case or file a motion. Process server fees. Someone has to be paid to physically hand the divorce papers to your spouse. You can't just mail them. Courier fees for sending documents. And then there are the big ones. Deposition costs. If your lawyer needs to formally question your spouse or a witness under oath before trial, you have to pay for a court reporter to create a transcript. That can be hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Then there are the expert witness fees. This is a universe of costs people rarely see coming. Is your spouse a business owner with a complex financial portfolio? You might need to hire a forensic accountant to trace the money and find hidden assets. Their retainers can be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 or more. But that $20,000 investment might uncover $100,000 in a hidden account. Is there a dispute over the value of your house? You'll need to pay for a real estate appraiser. Are you in a bitter custody battle? The court might appoint a custody evaluator or a guardian ad litem to represent the children's interests. These professionals are highly specialized, and their services are expensive, often costing tens of thousands of dollars. You need to ask your potential lawyer. Beyond your fees, what other major costs do you anticipate in a case like mine? A good lawyer will be able to give you a realistic, if not exact, picture. So, how do you track all of this? Every month, you will receive an invoice. And I want you to treat this invoice like a critical financial report from your company, because that's what it is. It will show the starting balance of your retainer, a detailed line-by-line breakdown of every single charge for that month, every hard cost, and then the amount deducted from your retainer. It will also show your new retainer balance. When that balance gets low, the firm will ask you to replenish the retainer, meaning you have to deposit more money into the trust account to fund the next phase of the fight. Your job is to read every single line item on that bill. Don't just look at the total. Did they bill you for a 30-minute phone call that you know was only 10 minutes? Question it. Do you see a charge for legal research on a basic fundamental issue that any family lawyer should know? Question it. You have every right to understand what you are paying for. A good, honest lawyer will have no problem walking you through their bill and explaining the charges. A lawyer who gets defensive or dismissive when you ask legitimate questions about their invoice. That is a massive red flag. You are the CEO of your own divorce. Your lawyer is your most important and most expensive employee. You must manage them and you must manage the budget. You can control costs by being hyper-organized. Don't show up with a shoebox full of crumpled receipts. Show up with spreadsheets. Consolidate your questions. Use paralegals for administrative tasks. And most importantly, listen to your lawyer's advice. The single fastest way to burn through your entire life savings is to pay a lawyer to fight battles that you can't win, simply because you're angry. A good lawyer will tell you which hills are worth dying on, and which ones you need to surrender for the good of the war. Now that you understand the financial engine of this process, the fuel it requires, and how to keep it from running out of control, you need to know what to bring to the table. Because showing up to that first meeting empty-handed is like asking a surgeon to operate without an X-ray. The information you provide, the documents you gather before you even walk in that door. That's not just preparation, it's ammunition. And in the next part, we're going to load every single chamber. So let's start with the first chamber, the financial X-ray. This is the single most important category because, let's be blunt, a divorce is the dissolution of a financial partnership just as much as an emotional one. Your lawyer needs to see every dollar, every cent, every asset, and every debt. This isn't the time for modesty or guesswork. You need to become a financial archaeologist, digging up the artifacts of your shared economic life. First, income. We need the hard proof. Gather your last 3 years of federal and state tax returns, filed jointly or separately. And I mean the entire return, not just the summary page. We're talking all the schedules, all the attachments. Why 3 years? Because it shows patterns. It shows consistency or a lack thereof. It tells a story about your financial trajectory as a couple. Alongside those, you need your last 3 to 6 months of pay stubs. For both of you if you can get them. Same goes for W-2 forms, 1099s for any freelance work, and any statements showing bonuses, commissions, or stock options. Your lawyer isn't being nosy. They're trying to establish the marital standard of living and calculate potential spousal or child support. Without these documents, they're flying blind. Next, assets. This is where the real digging begins. Start with the basics, bank statements. I want you to gather the last 12 months of statements for every single account you and your spouse have, joint or separate. Checking, savings, money market accounts, certificates of deposit, everything. And here's a pro tip. If you suspect things are about to get contentious, try to get statements from before the word divorce was ever mentioned. This creates a baseline. It allows your lawyer to spot any unusual, last-minute withdrawals or transfers. Did a $50,000 loan to a friend suddenly appear 2 weeks before the separation? That's not a loan, that's a red flag. Then move on to investments. Retirement accounts are marital assets. We need the most recent statements for every 401k, 403b, IRA, Roth IRA, pension plan, and brokerage account. Get the plan summary description if you can. This is often a huge chunk of the marital estate, and you need to know exactly what's there. Now for the physical stuff. Real estate. Bring copies of the deeds to any property you own. Your primary home, vacation properties, rental units. Also, bring the most recent mortgage statements for each, showing the principal balance. Cars, boats, RVs. We need the titles and the loan statements. And don't forget about the valuable stuff inside the house. You don't need to inventory every fork and spoon. But if you have significant assets like fine art, jewelry, antiques, or collections, make a list. If you have appraisals for any of these items, bring them. It's all part of the pot. And what about debts? Yes, debts get divided too. Gather the most recent statements for every single credit card, car loan, student loan, personal loan, and home equity line of credit. Understanding the full debt picture is just as critical as understanding the assets. You can't divide the pie without knowing how much is already owed to someone else. If there's a family business involved, the complexity multiplies, but the principle is the same. You need to bring the business's tax returns for the last 3 to 5 years, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and any shareholder agreements. If you don't have access, don't panic. Just make a note of the business's name and what you know about it. Your lawyer has tools for this. Okay, take a breath. That was the heaviest lift. Now for the second chamber, the family blueprint. If you have children, this is your priority. Start with the basics. Bring copies of your children's birth certificates and social security cards. Then think about their lives. Gather documents that show the current routine. School records, report cards, information on daycare costs, a list of their doctors, therapists, and any medical records related to significant health issues, a summary of their extracurricular activities, and the costs associated with them. The goal here is to paint a clear, factual picture of your children's world and each parent's role within it. This isn't about creating a good parent versus bad parent scoreboard. It's about providing the lawyer with the facts they need to advocate for a custody arrangement that is truly in your children's best interests. If you have a prenuptial or postnuptial agreement, it is absolutely non-negotiably critical that you bring it. This document is the original contract you both signed regarding a potential split. It may control almost every aspect of your divorce, and your lawyer must see it on day one. Finally, we load the third chamber, the marital timeline. This is less about financial statements and more about your story. I want you to sit down before you ever meet the lawyer and write out a brief chronological history of your marriage. Start with the date you got married, the date you bought your first house, the birth dates of your children, the date you or your spouse started a business. Then, and this is the hard part, you need to write down the date of separation. This is a legally significant date that can impact how assets and debts are classified. The date of separation isn't necessarily the day someone moves out. It's the day one of you decided the marriage was over and communicated that to the other person, followed by conduct that was consistent with that decision. Think about it carefully. When did the marriage truly end in a permanent way? Write down that date and a brief explanation of what happened. This narrative should also include a short, factual summary of why the marriage is ending. You don't need to write a novel filled with every argument you ever had. Just the key points. Was there infidelity, substance abuse, financial mismanagement, an irreconcilable breakdown in communication? Be honest and stick to the facts. If you have evidence to support your claims, emails, text messages, photos, organize them, but don't bring a mountain of screenshots. Bring a representative sample and a summary. Your lawyer will tell you what they need to see. This timeline gives your story context. It transforms you from a case number into a human being. It gives the lawyer the why behind all the financial data. Now I can feel the anxiety radiating through the screen. What if I can't get all of this? My spouse controls all the finances. Everything is locked in their office. Listen to me, do not panic. The goal is not to show up with a perfect, complete file. The goal is to show up with everything you can reasonably access. Your lawyer does not expect you to be a private investigator or a forensic accountant. They are the expert. They have legal tools like subpoenas and formal discovery requests to get the information you can't. Your job is to give them the best possible head start. Gather what you can. For what you can't, make a list. Spouse's 401k is with Fidelity, but I don't have access to statements. Joint checking account is at Chase. Account number ends in 1234. That information alone is incredibly valuable. It gives your lawyer a map of where to start digging. You've gathered the intelligence. You've assembled the dossier. But an unorganized pile of evidence is just noise. A shoebox full of crumpled receipts and random bank statements will frustrate your lawyer and waste your money. In the next part, we're going to turn that noise into a symphony. We'll craft the single most important document you will bring to that meeting besides the official forms, your personal summary. This isn't just a list of facts. It's your opening argument, and crafting it correctly can change everything. Let's break down the 4 movements of this document, your personal summary, that will make your lawyer see you not just as a client, but as a partner in achieving your own success. Think of this document as the blueprint for your freedom. The lawyer is the master builder, but you are the architect. You provide the vision. The first and most crucial section is the overture. It's a single powerful paragraph at the very top of the page. This is the executive summary of your entire situation. In no more than 5 or 6 sentences, you need to state the absolute essentials. It should include your name, your spouse's name, the date of marriage, and the date of separation. It must list the number of children you have and their ages. Then you deliver the 2 most important lines. A concise 1-sentence reason for the divorce, and a 1-sentence statement of what you believe will be the most contested issues. For example, the marriage has broken down irretrievably due to my spouse's financial infidelity and undisclosed debt. I anticipate the primary points of contention will be the custody of our 2 minor children and the division of the marital home. Boom! In 30 seconds, the lawyer knows more about your case than most people manage to explain in the first 30 minutes of a rambling, emotional meeting. It immediately frames the entire consultation. It tells the lawyer where the battlegrounds are going to be, allowing their mind to start working on strategy before you've even finished your first sentence. Next comes the first movement, the narrative. This is where you tell the story of the marriage, but not like you're talking to a therapist. This is a story with a purpose. Your goal is to provide context and justification for the divorce, and for the outcomes you're going to ask for later. You will write this chronologically but strategically. Start very briefly with the beginning. A sentence or 2 about when and why you got married. This isn't about being sentimental. It's about establishing that this was a legitimate, bona fide marriage built on hope. It shows you aren't just a malcontent. You invested in this, and its failure is a significant event. Then you identify the turning point. When did the character of the marriage change? Was there a specific incident, a job loss, the birth of a child, a diagnosed illness, the discovery of an affair? Or was it a gradual erosion? Pinpoint this shift. This gives the narrative a logical structure. After identifying the turning point, you create a bulleted list of no more than 5 to 7 key events that illustrate the core problems of the marriage. Do not list every fight over the remote control. Each bullet point should be a significant event that is legally relevant. For instance, instead of saying he was always angry, you write, March 2022, spouse's verbal outburst in front of the children resulted in a neighbor calling the police. No charges were filed, but a report was made. Instead of she was irresponsible with money, you write, October 2023, discovered spouse had secretly opened 3 credit cards in her name and accumulated approximately $35,000 in debt without my knowledge. See the difference? Facts, dates, and consequences. These are the building blocks of a legal argument. Finally, you conclude the narrative with the final straw, the specific event that made you realize the marriage was over and that you needed to file for divorce. This gives your story a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. The second movement is the cast of characters. This is a brief biographical sketch of the key players. You'll have a subheading for yourself, one for your spouse, and one for each child. For you and your spouse, list your full names, dates of birth, occupations, and annual incomes. Be honest about your income. Also include a note on your health and your spouse's health if there are any significant issues that could impact their ability to work or parent. Under your spouse's name, you can also add a single, objective sentence about any behavioral issues relevant to the case, like history of alcohol abuse, or has expressed intent to move out of state with the children. Again, facts, not feelings. For each child, list their full name, date of birth, the school they attend, and a brief, honest description of their general well-being. Most importantly, note any special needs, medical, educational, or emotional, as these are critically important for determining custody and support. This section gives the lawyer a quick reference sheet, a dramatis personae for the play that is about to unfold. The third movement is the financial snapshot. This is often the most intimidating part for people, but it doesn't have to be. You are not expected to be a forensic accountant. This is a high-level overview. You'll create simple categories: assets and debts. Under assets, you'll list things like real estate, bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs, vehicles, and any other significant property like art, jewelry, or a family business. For each item, provide your best estimate of its current value and, if you know, when it was acquired. For example, marital home, 123 Main Street, approximate value $600,000. Mortgage balance $350,000. Purchase 2018. Or husband's 401k, approximate value $250,000. Open 2012, during marriage. Under debts, you'll list that mortgage again, plus any car loans, student loans, and a summary of credit card debt. Don't worry about getting every number down to the penny. The goal here is to give the lawyer a bird's-eye view of the marital estate. It tells them whether this is a complex, high-asset case or a more straightforward division. It allows them to immediately identify potential problems, like a business that needs to be valued or a pension that has complex division rules. Providing this upfront can save you an entire hour of the lawyer's time, which at their billing rate could save you hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Finally, we arrive at the finale, your desired outcome. This is where you connect the story you've told and the facts you've presented to what you actually want to achieve. Many people are afraid to do this. They think it makes them look greedy or demanding. The opposite is true. It makes you look prepared and clear-headed. A lawyer cannot help you get where you want to go if you don't give them a destination. This is your initial GPS setting. It can be adjusted later, but you need to start with a goal. Be specific. Under subheadings like custody, property division, and support, state your initial position. For example, custody. I am seeking primary physical custody of the children with a joint legal custody arrangement, allowing my spouse a standard visitation schedule. Or, property division. I would like to be awarded the marital home. I am willing to buy out my spouse's equity or offset it with other assets, such as retirement funds. For support, you might write, I will be requesting child support calculated according to state guidelines and temporary alimony for a period of 24 months to allow me to complete my nursing degree and re-enter the workforce. End this final section with a single concluding sentence that encapsulates your overall philosophy for the divorce. Something like, my primary objective is to ensure the long-term stability and well-being of my children, while achieving a fair financial separation that allows both parties to move forward. This shows the lawyer that you are not on a mission of revenge. It shows that you are reasonable, forward-thinking, and focused on a resolution, not just a fight. This entire document, from overture to finale, should be no more than 4 pages. Keep it clean, use headings, use bullet points. Make it easy to read. Write it, then walk away from it for a day. Come back and read it again and ruthlessly edit out the emotion. Take out the adjectives. Take out sentences that start with I feel. Replace them with facts, dates, and evidence. This document transforms you. You walk into that office not as a mess of raw nerves, but as the CEO of your own divorce. You hand this symphony of facts to your lawyer, and you watch their entire demeanor change. They will see that you are organized, you are serious, and you are ready. You haven't just prepared for a meeting. You've laid the foundation for your entire case. You have given your lawyer the greatest gift a client can give: clarity. And in the confusing, chaotic world of divorce, clarity is power. It is the weapon that will save you time, save you money, and ultimately, help you win the future you deserve. Now, at this point in the meeting, the dynamic shifts. The spotlight moves from you to the lawyer. You've laid your cards on the table. You've shared the painful details, the financial spreadsheets, and the hopes you have for your future. Now you lean back, take a breath, and you watch. You listen. Because what happens next is arguably the most important part of this entire consultation. This is where the lawyer starts earning their retainer before you've even paid it. This is the moment they transform from a passive listener into your potential strategist, your guide, and your reality check. A great lawyer won't immediately start promising you the moon. They won't say, "Don't worry, we'll crush them." That's talk for television. A real seasoned professional will likely pause. They will look at their notes, maybe look you directly in the eye, and they will give you the one thing you need more than false hope: a candid, unvarnished assessment of your situation. This is the tough love portion of the meeting. They are going to take the goals you just outlined, keeping the house, getting primary custody, securing a certain amount of support, and they are going to hold them up against the harsh, cold light of the law in your state. They might say something like, "Okay, I understand you want to keep the house. Let's talk about what that actually looks like. Based on the numbers you've given me, the equity is significant. To keep it, you'd likely have to buy out your spouse's share. Do you have the resources to do that? Can you refinance the mortgage in your name alone?" Or regarding custody, they might say, "You're asking for sole custody. I need you to understand that courts in this state favor joint custody unless there is a clear and present danger to the children. We can absolutely argue for it, but we need to build a very strong case based on specific evidence, not just on your belief that you are the better parent. The standard is the best interests of the child, and the court's definition of that might be different from yours." This isn't them being negative. This is them being a good lawyer. They are stress testing your expectations. They are identifying the potential battlefields and showing you the hills you might die on, financially and emotionally. They are separating the wants from the realistically achievable. And as they do this, they are also giving you your first real legal education. They'll start explaining the fundamental framework of divorce in your jurisdiction. You'll hear terms that you've probably only seen in movies, but now they apply to your life. They'll explain how your state handles property. Are you in a community property state like California or Texas, where almost everything acquired during the marriage is considered a 50-50 split? Or are you in an equitable distribution state, which is most of the country, where the assets are divided fairly, which doesn't always mean equally? This single distinction can be the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. They'll talk about marital versus separate property, how that inheritance you received from your aunt might be yours to keep, but only if you didn't commingle it in a joint bank account. Suddenly, a simple bank transfer you made 3 years ago becomes a critical piece of the puzzle. Then they'll pivot to the children, the most emotionally charged part of any divorce. They'll break down the concept of custody. There's legal custody, the right to make major decisions about education, healthcare, and religion. And there's physical custody, where the child primarily resides. They'll explain the local court's tendencies. Do the judges in your county have a standard visitation schedule they prefer? What kind of parenting plans do they typically approve? This is invaluable insider information. They are giving you a peek behind the judicial curtain, showing you the unwritten rules of the game you're about to play. Next comes support. They'll address child support, which is often the most straightforward piece because most states use a rigid formula based on both parents' incomes and the amount of time each parent has with the children. But then they'll tackle the far murkier subject of spousal support, or alimony. Unlike child support, this is often highly subjective. The lawyer will walk you through the factors the court considers: the length of the marriage, the standard of living you both enjoyed, the age and health of each spouse, and critically, each person's earning capacity versus their needs. They will give you a brutally honest assessment of whether you're likely to pay or receive it, and a potential range of how much and for how long. This is the part of the meeting where you should be asking questions. If you don't understand a term, ask them to define it. If their assessment surprises you, ask them why the law sees it that way. A good lawyer will welcome these questions. They want an educated client. They know that a client who understands the why behind the strategy is a better partner in the process. This dialogue is also a test. Are they patient? Do they explain things in a way you can understand without being condescending? Or do they seem annoyed by your questions, using dense legal jargon to rush you along? Pay close attention. This is a preview of how they will communicate with you for the next year or more of your life. As the lawyer lays out this legal roadmap, they will also start to outline potential strategies. This is where you see how their mind works, based on everything you've told them, and everything they know about your spouse and the opposing lawyer. If you know who it is, they'll suggest an opening move. They might say, "Look, your spouse is a reasonable person, but they're scared." The best approach here might be to avoid the courtroom entirely. We can propose collaborative divorce or mediation. We can frame it as a way to save money and protect the kids from a nasty fight. Or they might have the opposite reaction. "Based on what you've told me about your spouse hiding assets and their volatile personality, we need to act quickly and aggressively. I recommend we file the petition for divorce immediately and file a motion for temporary orders. We need to ask the court to freeze the assets, grant you temporary use of the house, and establish a temporary custody schedule. We need to set the tone from day one that we will not be bullied." Listen to the reasons they give for their proposed strategy. It shouldn't just be based on a feeling. It should be based on facts, law, and experience. This is where you can spot some major red flags. If a lawyer guarantees you an outcome, "I guarantee you'll get the house," or "I promise you'll never have to pay a dime of alimony," stand up and walk out. The only guarantees in divorce are that it will be stressful and expensive. An ethical lawyer deals in probabilities and risk management, not in empty promises. Another red flag is the lawyer who only has one tool in their toolbox: a hammer. If they immediately push for all-out war without even discussing the possibility of a negotiated settlement, you have to ask yourself if they're serving your best interests or their own billable hours. A truly great divorce lawyer is a master strategist who knows that sometimes the most powerful move is a quiet, well-reasoned settlement offer, not a loud, belligerent court filing. Finally, after the strategy session, the conversation will inevitably circle back to money. But this time it will be more specific. Now that the lawyer understands the complexity of your case, are there business valuations involved? Is a custody evaluation likely? Will you need to hire forensic accountants? They can give you a much more realistic estimate of costs. They will explain their retainer in detail. It's not a flat fee. It's a down payment that they will bill their hourly rates against. They will tell you what that retainer is and when it will need to be replenished. They should also be able to give you a rough estimate of the total cost for different scenarios. For example, if we can settle this in the next 6 months through mediation, you might be looking at a total cost in the range of X. If this becomes a high-conflict case that goes all the way to a trial, the cost could be Y. It will be a wide range, but it's a necessary one. You need to go into this with your eyes wide open to the financial reality. This conversation is your final gut check. Do you trust this person not just with your future, but with your finances? Do you believe they will be a responsible steward of your money, always looking for the most efficient path forward? Or do you get the sense they see you as a blank check? At the end of this incredibly dense, emotionally draining, and clarifying hour, you will be left with a decision. You have the roadmap, you have the reality check, and you have the price tag. Now you have to decide. Is this the person you want to captain your ship through the storm? And making that decision is almost as hard as the decision to get divorced in the first place. You walk out of that office and the city sounds different. The air feels different. You're either buzzing with a sense of purpose, a feeling of, okay, I have a plan, I have an advocate, or you're sinking under the weight of it all, feeling more lost than when you walked in. Both reactions are completely normal. Your brain has just processed a fire hose of legal, financial, and emotional information. Give yourself a moment. Go to a coffee shop. Sit in your car. Just breathe, because what you do next isn't about speed, it's about clarity. Before you even think about the money or the legal strategy, I want you to do a gut check. A very serious, honest gut check. How did you feel in that room? This isn't some soft New Age advice. This is mission critical. You are about to hand over the most intimate, painful, and financially significant details of your life to this person. You will be communicating with them during your darkest hours. You need to feel, on a fundamental level, that you can trust them. Did they listen more than they talked? When you spoke about your kids, did they look you in the eye? Or were they glancing at their computer screen? Did they interrupt you constantly, finishing your sentences with legal jargon? Or did they give you the space to tell your story, even the messy, rambling parts? Did you feel like a human being going through a crisis? Or did you feel like case file 7B on their Tuesday schedule? Think of it this way. There are brilliant surgeons with terrible bedside manner. You might hire one for a one-time complex surgery. But a divorce isn't a single operation. It's a long-term treatment plan. You need a doctor who is not only skilled with the scalpel of the law, but who can also sit with you, explain the x-rays, and reassure you during the painful recovery process. If you left that meeting feeling belittled, dismissed, or like you were an inconvenience, that is a giant flashing neon red flag. Your intuition is one of the most powerful tools you have in this entire process. Do not ignore it. Okay, gut check complete. Now let's talk about the piece of paper that likely came at the end of that meeting, the retainer agreement. This document is where the theoretical turns into the tangible. It's the contract that formalizes your relationship, and you need to read it with the focus of a bomb disposal expert, because every sentence, every clause matters. First, let's clarify what a retainer is. It is not the total cost of your divorce. I repeat, it is not the total cost. Think of it as a down payment or a security deposit for legal services. The law firm holds this money in a special trust account. As your lawyer and their staff work on your case, they bill their time against that money. When the money in the trust account runs low, you will be required to replenish it. This is often called an evergreen retainer. Understanding this is crucial. The initial $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000 check you write is just the beginning. The retainer agreement will spell out exactly how this works. Now let's break down the key sections you must scrutinize. First, the hourly rates. The agreement will list the billing rate for everyone who might touch your file. The senior partner you met with might be $600 an hour. A junior associate might be $300. A paralegal might be $150. You need to be crystal clear on who does what and what it costs. Will the partner be handling every aspect, or will a lot of the work be delegated to a lower-cost associate? There are pros and cons to both, but you need to know what you're paying for. Second, the scope of representation. What does the retainer actually cover? Does it cover the divorce from start to finish, including a potential trial? Or does it only cover pretrial work, with a new, much larger retainer required if you have to go to court? Does it include related matters like a domestic violence restraining order? Or is that a separate case with a separate fee? Look for what is explicitly included and, more importantly, what is excluded. Third, communication costs. This is a huge one that trips people up. Does the firm bill in 6-minute increments? 10-minute increments? If you send a one-sentence email, are you getting billed for 6 minutes of the lawyer's time? What about phone calls? What about making copies and postage? These are often called costs as opposed to fees, and they can add up with shocking speed. A good agreement will be transparent about this. A predatory one will bury it in fine print. You need to know the rules of engagement for communication before you start. Fourth, the withdrawal clause. This section explains how you can fire your lawyer and, just as importantly, how they can fire you. Usually, you can fire your lawyer at any time for any reason, but they can typically only withdraw from your case for specific reasons, like if you're not paying your bills, if you're asking them to do something unethical, or if the client-attorney relationship has completely broken down. Understand these terms. Do not, under any circumstances, feel pressured to sign this document in the office. Any lawyer who says, "This is a one-time offer," or "You need to sign today to lock in this rate," is not a lawyer you want. They are a salesperson using high-pressure tactics. A professional, confident attorney will want you to take it home. They will want you to read it carefully and ask questions. They know that a client who understands the terms from the beginning is a better client in the long run. Now, hopefully, this wasn't the only meeting you scheduled. You absolutely must consult with at least 2, preferably 3 different attorneys. I know it's exhausting. I know it's expensive. But you are about to make one of the most significant financial and personal decisions of your life. You wouldn't buy the first house you see. Don't hire the first lawyer you meet. Meeting with multiple lawyers allows you to compare not just the cost but the approach. Lawyer A might have been a bulldog, talking about filing aggressive motions and going for the jugular. Lawyer B might have focused on collaborative law or mediation, emphasizing a less adversarial path. There is no one right answer. The right answer is the one that aligns with your goals and your specific situation. If you have a cooperative spouse and your main goal is to preserve a co-parenting relationship, the bulldog might be the worst possible choice. If your spouse is hiding assets and refusing to negotiate, the collaborative lawyer might not have the teeth you need. You won't know the difference until you hear different perspectives. You'll also compare the retainer amounts. If one lawyer asks for a $5,000 retainer and another asks for $25,000 for the exact same case, you need to ask why. It could be that the second lawyer is a top-tier expert, or it could be they are anticipating a much more complicated fight, or it could be they're just more expensive. It's your job to ask the tough questions and figure out what provides the best value, not just the lowest price. So you've had the meetings. You've done the gut check. You've compared the strategies and the costs. You've read every single word of the retainer agreements. Now sleep on it for at least one night. Let the information settle. Talk it over with a trusted friend or your therapist, someone who has your back and can act as a sounding board. Step away from the fear and the anger for a moment and try to make a decision from a place of clarity and strength. You weigh the connection you felt, the confidence they inspired, the strategy they proposed, and the contract they presented. You balance the human element with the financial reality, and then you make a choice. You decide who you are going to trust to stand with you, to speak for you, and to fight for you. Once you've made that call, once you've said, "Yes, I want to hire you," a strange mix of emotions washes over you. There's a profound sense of relief, like you finally handed over a crushing weight to someone strong enough to carry it. For the first time in months, maybe even years, you're not alone in this fight. You have an advocate. You have a team. But right behind that relief comes a cold, sobering clarity. This is real. The abstract threat of divorce has now solidified into a tangible process, a file with your name on it, a retainer check being cashed. The path you've just chosen is one of deconstruction. You are formally beginning the process of taking a life that was woven together, thread by thread, and picking it apart. It's a necessary, often healthy, but undeniably painful process. The first concrete step is signing the retainer agreement. This is that contract we talked about. Read it again even though you reviewed it before. This document will govern your entire professional relationship. It outlines the scope of work, the billing rates for everyone from the senior partner to the paralegal, communication policies, and the circumstances under which the relationship can be terminated, by you or by them. As you sign your name, it feels less like a business transaction and more like a treaty you're signing before heading into battle. Then comes the payment of the retainer fee. Writing that check or swiping that card is a significant moment. It's the first major financial investment in your new separate future. For many, it's a moment of empowerment, the first money spent that is solely for their own protection and well-being. For others, it's a moment of deep sadness, seeing a chunk of the family's resources diverted to its own dissolution. Both feelings are valid. Acknowledge them and then let them pass. This is an investment in your future. With the formalities out of the way, your legal team doesn't just sit back and wait. The moment you are officially their client, a well-oiled machine clicks into gear. Their first priority is to gather information. All that stuff you talked about in the consultation, now it's time to prove it. They need the raw data, the source code of your marriage. And that means you have homework. A lot of it. Your lawyer, or more likely their paralegal, will send you a follow-up packet, either electronically or in a thick folder. This packet is your new Bible. It will contain detailed questionnaires and a dauntingly long checklist of documents they need from you. This isn't busy work. This is the foundation of your entire case. Everything, from calculating child support to dividing assets to determining alimony, depends on the financial information you provide right now. So what are they looking for? Think of yourself as an archaeologist and your marriage is the dig site. You need to unearth every single financial artifact. We're talking about the last 3 to 5 years of tax returns, both personal and for any businesses you own. Pay stubs for both you and, if you can get them, your spouse. Bank statements for every single account. Checking, savings, money market, even the kids' custodial accounts. We need to see every dollar that came in and every dollar that went out. Then we move to the big stuff. Investment account statements. For 01(k)s, IRAs, brokerage accounts, stock options, pensions. The full statements, not just the summary page. We need to see the history. Real estate documents. Deeds to your house, mortgage statements, property tax bills, appraisals. Vehicle information, titles, loan statements for cars, boats, RVs. Life insurance policies, we need to know the cash surrender value. And debt. Oh, we need to know about the debt. Every credit card statement for the last few years. Student loan documents. Personal loans. Car loans. Mortgages. A complete picture of the liabilities is just as important as a picture of the assets. Gathering all of this is overwhelming. It's exhausting. It's emotionally draining because every statement, every document, is a reminder of a life you built together. That credit card statement shows the anniversary dinner from 2 years ago. The mortgage document has both of your signatures on it from a time when you were full of hope. Allow yourself the space to feel those emotions, but do not let them stop you. Your ability to be thorough and organized at this stage will save you thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees down the road. The more work you do to gather and organize, the less your legal team has to do at their hourly rate. Create a folder for each category. Scan everything and create digital copies. The more organized you are, the stronger your case will be from the very beginning. This initial information gathering blitz is just the informal start of a formal legal process, known as discovery. Discovery is exactly what it sounds like. Both sides get to discover the facts and evidence the other side has. It's the part of the legal process designed to ensure there are no surprises at trial. Both you and your spouse will be required under oath to provide a full financial disclosure. The documents you're gathering are the proof that backs up that disclosure. As part of discovery, you might have to answer interrogatories. These are written questions from your spouse's attorney that you must answer in writing, under oath. They can feel incredibly invasive. List every asset you own. State the reason for the breakdown of the marriage. Identify every gift you have given over $100 in the last 3 years. Your lawyer will help you craft the answers to be truthful but strategic. You'll also receive a request for production of documents, which is the formal demand for all the financial records we just talked about. And if your spouse isn't being forthcoming with their own documents, your lawyer will serve them with the same requests. This is how we uncover hidden accounts or undisclosed income. This is also when you'll truly begin to appreciate the role of the other people at the law firm. You will likely spend more time communicating with your lawyer's paralegal or legal assistant than with the lawyer themselves. This is by design, and it's a good thing. Paralegals are highly skilled professionals who can manage much of the document gathering and case organization. Their hourly rate is significantly lower than your attorney's. A good paralegal is the backbone of a law firm and will be your go-to person for many of your day-to-day questions. It's crucial to establish a good rapport with them. They are your lifeline. This brings us to the critical topic of communication. In your first few days as a client, you and your lawyer should explicitly set expectations for communication. How often can you expect updates? What's the best way to reach them? Email or phone? What is their policy on returning calls or emails? A common complaint from clients in any legal field is, "I can never get a hold of my lawyer." Understand that your case is not their only case. They are in court, in depositions, in mediations. That's why the team is so important. But you have a right to be informed. A good lawyer will explain their communication policy up front. If they say they return all emails within 24 business hours, hold them to that. And you need to do your part. Consolidate your non-urgent questions into a single well-organized email, rather than sending 10 separate ones throughout the day. Every email, every phone call is a billable event. Be efficient. Once your lawyer has your initial batch of documents and a clear picture of the situation, they will make the first move. They will draft the initial legal pleading that starts the divorce case. In most states, this is called a petition for dissolution of marriage. This document is deceptively simple. It lists basic facts: who you are, who your spouse is, when and where you were married, the names and ages of your children. It states in cold legal language that the marriage is irretrievably broken, and it outlines what you are asking the court for: a divorce, custody of your children, child support, alimony, an equitable division of property and debt. Reading this document for the first time is another one of those gut punch moments. It takes the swirling chaos of your emotions and distills it into a few pages of numbered paragraphs. Your lawyer will send it to you for review. You'll read your life story, stripped of all its love and laughter, reduced to legal claims. And once you give your approval, your lawyer will file it with the court. A case number will be assigned. A judge will be designated, and you will officially be in the system. But the case doesn't truly begin until your spouse knows about it. The petition must be formally delivered to them. This is called service of process. It can't just be mailed. The law requires that your spouse is personally given a copy of the lawsuit against them, along with a summons ordering them to respond in court. Usually, this is done by a professional process server or a local sheriff's deputy. They will go to your spouse's home or workplace and hand them the papers. This is often the most dreaded, most explosive moment in the entire divorce process. It's the point of no return. It's the official declaration that the marriage is over, and the battle has now moved from your home to the courthouse. And you know with absolute certainty that your phone is about to ring.